Hold on. So this is how you designate the HID reader G2. This is the one that's going to be used for Moco. Go ahead, Vlad, take it away.
All right, so this is a workbench tool. So Omni tools you can find at a HID website. All right. So, but it's not what you're gonna need.
It's loading.
Yeah, it takes forever. And probably the office too is slow. So if you will need internet access when you're on site, right? I believe I save it somewhere. Let me open. So got too many things. So in the Konica Minolta HID explanations, there's a website, right, to go to, but your card reader has to be, there we go, HID Omni Global. So this is the website. It's 192.168.63.99. That's all you need to remember. 192.168, but your card reader has to be plugged into your laptop or it will not work.
And it won't go to the website?
Yeah, it will not go nowhere, right? So when you have the program file from Sherry, all you got to do is you go to System Config. So now this is what you update firmware, program file. So if I click on that space, so it's gonna ask you for that file. You see how it loads me? So that's the Gen 2 program files that I have.
And that's the file that Mark was referring to that Sherry had.
Yes. So whatever Sherry have, when we send it to you, it should come on the type, just like a loadable driver type of file,
TAR file?
TAR file, that's correct. Okay. So once you do that, if I double click on it and then hit upload, so you're gonna tell you apply the config file, please wait. When it's done, it's gonna tell you the upload successful.
You just push that down to the card reader.
Yeah. If it doesn't do that, if it fails, it fails. For instance, the card look the same. You will find a warehouse for the Gen 1 in the machine. It happens. Because it happened to me several times because it looks exactly the same.
It's supposed to be all brand new ones that are coming in that are Gen 2.
They do send it out of the box Gen 1. I'm telling you. It does
So there's going to be a mix-up, so check.
It might be a mix-up. So if you plug the card and the file say fail,
double check that.
I suggest you peel the card out of the machine and check the back of it.
That's a good idea.
Well,
good
we're
tip.
gonna be loading these before we put them in the machine.
Right.
So once it fails, it's best to check because that happened to me when I do City of Annapolis. I got 25 machine, half of the card was Gen 1.
And then, which loadable driver are we gonna be using?
You do that the G00. I'll tell you right now because I got internet access. So what I always do, so they probably put the latest loadable firmware on there. So
and with the newer machines, the i-Series, they should all be the exact same loadable driver across the board, right?
No.
No?
Depends where they build them. Depends where they come out. So one that come out 2-3 months behind the next might be different. So if we go to product category, so if I go to authentication device, right? So I'm taking the AU205H, right? So firmware. So before, sometimes you could do the machine, but a lot of time what's gonna happen is if the model is not listed, you're gonna have a blank page. So I would not suggest do that. So I normally go there and I'm gonna go to keyboard wedge. All right. So now they were doing it by firmware. So the Q9 G00 Q9 function to that too.
That's the latest.
That's the keyboard wedge for it. But
and that was delivered on 3/10/23, so that's a year-old code.
That's a year-old, right? So for that machine that you're having, right? Because if you go to base firmware, the way they do it right now, on the base firmware, they try to put everything you're gonna need based on the loadable, based on the firmware that's in there, right? So you're gonna have the keyboard email, so G0031 should work. IT6. All right, but here's the kicking. The function version is 2.2. So if they increase that function version to 2.3, you want to make sure that the loadable driver is that same function versions, whatever you put there.
Okay, so everything so far is at 2.3s.
2.3?
From what I've seen so far. So you're saying 2.3 probably won't work?
Well,
Or that
right now
that
the
one wouldn't
CAM,
work?
the CAM make them backward compatible.
Okay,
So,
so it will.
yeah,
as long,
so,
as,
yeah.
long as we put it to function 2.3, it should
Yeah,
work.
because right now let's do one of the
But
machines.
if you had, say, if you had a 2.1, 2.2
Yeah.
would not work.
No, it won't work. So let's do the C51, C541i. Is that what it is? I don't see the I on that one. I. It's 550, yeah, one I. So if I go to firmware, and you see what the G00RE function 2.3?
Yeah.
So 2.3, 2.3, 2.3. So the loadable driver for that will be 2.2, 2.3. It will work for both.
Okay.
Right? But if you got a 2.1, of course, it won't work for neither of them.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure you do that. So, but I would prefer to go to the base firmware because now they tend to, that's how they document things right now. They tend to have the firmware there, everything you need for that firmware. And then when you move to the next level firmware, you see
Yep.
2.3, same thing again. You know, and then when you go to 2.2, that's how I see that they start to do it. So there you can look to see what you're looking for. Because now the key, they're trying to do the Y-Soft. That's why you see Y-Soft there. All right? But you should see that because they still have the AU205. It does not say AU205, it say AU, 205H. But if they're not so sure, what they can do is they pull that sheet, the PDF sheets on there, and then it will tells you exactly what you need.
It's the reference, right? The firmware reference.
Yep.
That's going to be
I'll show you.
this many models over in the warehouse. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah. So this is what the new ones call common mix it crazy, right? So it's 2058 CK, 2058 secure, right? So this is for I-class cards. So if they put that, this is 205, it won't work. It will tell you the card that's in there doesn't work. So that's why you want to do the IT6, A15, this will work.
Okay.
All right, so that's why they when you look at that, this will help you. So if you're looking for a keyboard and mill, this is what we have. Anytime you're gonna make a driver from scratch, like I have a card reader. I don't have no loadable driver for it. As long as I know the card reader manufacturer, I can look in for the product number and the vendor ID. I can create a loadable driver for that. But I'm using a keyboard and mill tools to do that. It tells you that keyboard wedge mode. So this one will work for any tool AU205 Gen 2.
So is that the one we should
That's
be
what you
using?
need.
The keyboard wedge one.
That's the keyboard wedge one. Yes. So right out of the box, this will work. You don't need to make any changes on that at all.
G00-41.
A0131 G00-41. Right? Even if it's a function 2.3 or 2.2, that should work.
Okay.
So that's why now it's very, very